Welcome to CADRE. Today, we're going to learn about instructional aspects to schooling, where we dig out barriers and plant supports. But before we do that, let's first share a common definition of what good teaching is about. Good teaching is not just about relaying academic content, but that's pretty much what our training is focused on. For example, here's the course load to get a secondary mathematics certification from George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. Across 23 credit hours, most of the training is on math content. We need to bust out of this content-focused thinking and center students when we think about the definition of good teaching. To do this, I asked culturally and linguistically diverse high school students to describe a dream teacher in Arlington Public Schools in Virginia. Here's what they said.
A person who can understand where all of us are coming from instead of trying to get this and that done and putting more stress on you. It is your job to communicate with your students. You want the best for your students. Don't be so distant. Don't be the kind of teacher where it's like, here, do the work. They make an effort to build a relationship. They talk to you. They work with you. You can see it in her voice. You can tell she wants all of us to pass her class.
Looking at these quotes, you'll see two themes. Dream teachers help students succeed, and dream teachers build relationships. Without centering the lived experiences of diverse students, we miss these two really important factors to good instruction. Instructional aspects of schooling for equity are these two things. First, we as educators must develop the learning capacity of our students. And second, we must build relational trust with our students. These instructional aspects of schooling are the ingredients needed for students to go through the learning pit. Now, every student goes through the learning pit. That's how you learn. But we know that some students go through the learning pit without the supports from the grown-ups in the system and can get stuck in the pit. As the grown-ups in the system, it is our responsibility to support every student through the learning pit. Going back to the instructional aspects of schooling, developing the learning capacity of students means that as a student goes into the pit, educators are there, not just to relay academic content, but also to develop their cognitive, social, and emotional skills. As students go into the pit, they are in an environment where, as one student said, you can see it in the teacher's voice that they are safe because of the relational trust that the educators built. Once students go through the pit to the other side, the educator is still there, reinforcing how much their students persevered, showed grit, and embraced a growth mindset to learn, to reinforce what learning means. As Zaretta Hammond says in her book, CRT and the Brain, learning is about growing dendrites in the brain. To reinforce this, here's a fantastic one-pager from Kathleen Dempsey, an expert in formative assessment. Formative assessment is not interim quizzes. It's not actually an assessment that's even graded. It's a practice that helps educators adjust their pedagogy and a practice that helps students self-reflect on their metacognition. With formative assessment, you're helping students develop their learning capacity, allowing them to be independent learners by having them ask 3 questions. Where am I going? Where am I now? And where to next? With each question, teachers develop students' cognitive, academic, social, and emotional skills so that they are fully engaged in the learning process. This is just one example of educators implementing instructional supports to develop students' learning capacity and build relational trust with students. Now it's your turn to test out some instructional supports of your own. Let's blast off to equity.